July 14, 2003. The United States government finally revealed the truth about a place that had been a nightmare for many people, Area 51. Hello, you're watching NSK Show, and today I'll tell you a few stories from the realm of urban legends and creepypasta, starting with the horrifying project at Area 51 called Abigail. This story dates back to 1943, when Area 51 was known as the auxiliary airfield of the Indiana Springs Air Force. However, rumors of more than just flights happening there grew rapidly. Media of the time tried to photograph inside Area 51, but security there was tight, with hundreds of military trucks guarding the area. Journalists devised a plan. From a distance, they managed to photograph some of the employees patrolling along the fences. Then, they found the homes of these employees, offering a large sum of money to get some information, namely the story. The story of a young and beautiful girl, Abigail Wester, the daughter of one of the most respected scientists in Area 51, Major Albert Wester. During World War II, the United States believed that Hitler's great achievements were linked to ongoing scientific experiments. Americans thought they needed to create an entirely new kind of human, a universal soldier, something like Captain America in real life. However, no one agreed to offer themselves to science and become a lab rat. That's when Albert Wester proposed his daughter Abigail, a beautiful university student, to play the role of the subject, diving headfirst into her father's affairs and Area 51. Father and daughter fervently believed in the success of the impending experiment, not even being bothered by the high radiation dose Abigail was supposed to endure. Preparation was swift, and Albert Wester immediately commenced the experiment. However, soon after, fellow scientists advised Abigail's father to halt the experiment as her face started deforming and mutating, her teeth growing oddly, her once fair skin losing its radiance and healthy look. Then wrinkles, previously luxurious hair turned partly gray and fell out. It was his own daughter, yet he couldn't stop. He insisted the experiment needed to continue. There was no other way. Otherwise, Abigail would die. Abigail herself urged to continue, fanatically believing in her father's theoretical work, which proclaimed that if all the experiments were carried through, the subject would survive. The fanatic scientist somehow persuaded the management not to shut down the project, and for years, he continued experimenting on his daughter. According to information leaked to the press, Zone 51 staff regularly brought copious amounts of food to the door of the chamber where the subject was held, as ordinary portions couldn't satiate the creature that was once a sweet girl. Some claimed Albert spent hours in this chamber, talking for a long time, receiving only growls in response, followed by crying. Others claimed Abigail had completely lost her mind. Her body had become monstrous. She was almost 3 meters tall, her bones elongated, and her humanity was lost. Now she reminded more of a wild animal. Some said the experiment was a complete failure. However, Albert persisted, believing that his experiment would succeed. Yet, pressure from fellow scientists and management kept mounting. The United States military wasn't willing to spend so much money without seeing the end result, a superhuman. All they saw was a monster with the instincts of a beast. Ultimately, the funding was cut. Albert took his own life 4 years after the launch of the Abigail project. However, he left a letter begging to spare his daughter's life. Zone staff took pity and didn't destroy Abigail. Yet due to the funding cut, the supply and security had to be reduced. Soon, terrifying screams and even wails were heard from the chamber. Eventually, Abigail escaped, allegedly killing 2 guards. They say the shots didn't harm her. After her escape, the monster lay low. To prevent further casualties, the decision was made to separate the area where she was presumed to be with the world's strongest materials. Since the Abigail project was terminated over 70 years ago, some security guards still claim to hear Abigail's screams west of Area 51 at night. The government doesn't intervene in that zone, knowing that this monster is impossible to destroy. All they can do is contain Abigail in an improvised cell. Yet somehow, the mad doctor managed to create an invulnerable superhuman, albeit mindless and uncontrollable. Another equally horrifying urban legend stems from a story told by a dismissed Zone 51 employee. This worker revealed a terrifying experiment conducted at the most heavily guarded military base in the USA. Yes, for the experiment, we needed 10 boys and 1 girl. Children were recruited from the streets. Even taking them from orphanages was forbidden to maintain secrecy. A sample of extraterrestrial origin was implanted into the girl's brain. It, was an organic parasite that fed on gray matter. The gray matter in the spinal cord surrounds the central canal, so the parasite quickly grew to reach this substance. What's more interesting, you see, as it grew, the subject's brain capacity significantly increased. They placed the boys in a room facing a large screen and covered their eyes with bandages. Then, they brought the girl into that room. And you must understand, the test results shocked us. The girl not only could read the boys' thoughts, but could also project them onto the screen, without using any technical devices. And the blood test results were equally surprising. The leukocyte level dropped by almost half, while the platelet count increased several times, I don't know the further fate of these children. I signed a non-disclosure agreement, I, didn't fit in with them, as I was, too, as they said, emotional, and they didn't allow me to continue with further experiments, Well, then I was fired and placed here, in this psychiatric hospital, so that, in case of a leak, nobody would believe me. I've been in the clinic for 2 years now. And yes, I understand. And you understand, and everyone around should understand, that it's hard for me. It's difficult for me to believe. I know, I understand. But you must understand. Everything I've said is pure truth. The next legend is associated with an alleged alien captured by humans and held in Area 51. A person calling himself Victor managed to sneakily obtain a videotape recording of the interrogation of a gray alien. The first information about the tape emerged on March 13, 1997. It surfaced on Art Bell's radio show, where an interview was conducted with Sean David Morton, a professional ufologist. During the show, he claimed that the material was recent, dated back to 1996, and Bob Dean, his interviewee and a well-known UFO expert, insisted on authenticating the recording. After Victor obtained the video, he wished for it to be broadcasted through network television as soon as possible because he knew that if the authorities identified him, they would kill him. And this would help confirm the authenticity of the film. Victor received offers from many TV companies. Initially, negotiations were held with Fox TV, but they declined due to the inability to authenticate the video material. However, in July 1996, Victor managed to find an independent company. That company was Rocket Home Pictures Production. Following this, the channel's producers asked Morton to comment on the film. After viewing it, Morton explained what he saw in detail. Look, the film was shot through a thick layer of glass. There is no sound in this video. The interrogation was conducted in a dimly lit room illuminated with a greenish glow. I could see 2 men, one in military attire, and the other one was casually dressed. They were sitting back to back at the edge of a long table equipped with microphones. I also noticed they had some medical instruments in their hands, and opposite them sat a small creature with dark eyes, a large head, and brown skin. Moreover, Morton repeatedly mentioned the alien guest's unhealthy appearance and condition. Yes, indeed, the alien was constantly swaying, apparently in a weakened state. Its skin was pinkish beige, but for some reason, part of its head was crimson, as if its skull had been bruised. Towards the end of the recording, the creature kept having severe convulsions. Its mouth, for some reason, kept opening and closing, and eventually, foam started coming out. After that, doctors rushed to it, and that's precisely when the recording abruptly ended. Everyone had different opinions about the authenticity of this recording. Some believed, some didn't. It's worth noting that the video has the inscription DNI 27 displayed in the bottom strip of the frame. Most likely, it's encoded time and date, while the letters are deciphered as the Department of Naval Intelligence. It was representatives of this agency who were part of the group responsible for Area 51. The best source for determining the authenticity of the tape was a person named Victor, who of course didn't want to talk about himself for fear of being killed. Jeff Broadstreet, a TV producer, knows how Victor managed to take the tape from the base. According to him, Victor made a copy of the materials since at that time, work was being done to digitize analog tapes in which this mysterious Victor took part. They also removed the audio track themselves to conceal the identities of the interrogators. Well, I guess that's enough urban legends for today. Don't forget to like and, of course, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.